The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, 90 days of boxing, day number 38. I can't believe it. Every day, it's just going by. It's just going by and going by. And we're almost at the halfway point of our 90 days of boxing series. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the 90 days of boxing live series. I think this live in particular, this is going to be a live for the history books. This is going to be a live that, when you look at the course of these 90 days, it's going to be really one of those, ones that you remember, one for the books, as they would say. But shout out to everyone here. Hope everybody's having a good day. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good day at work, all that good stuff. And yeah, man, smash that like button. Gonna be a real good show. Before I get to any comments or anything about Canelo and Crawford and PBC, let me just give you guys some program reminders here on True School Sports. Now, you guys know Saturday is the highly anticipated WBA featherweight title fight. You're gonna have Otabek Komatov, Raymond Ford. I'm gonna be there in New York, up there in Verona, way up there in upstate New York. So looking forward to being there. And if any of you guys are gonna be there, let me know. And we'll definitely go ahead and meet up with some of the fine viewers and the fine folks here on True School Sports. But listen, so much to unpack, so much to dissect in the world of boxing today. Also, before I get into the Canelo, Wednesday, right? Shout out to Wednesday, and he's right on cue. Shout out to my guy, Daniel Rubin. I was just going to say Wednesday, shout out to Pro Box, Justin Paldo, Miguel Madueño. I will be watching that fight, so hopefully I get a chance to watch the whole thing and do a nice little puff review on it. Looking forward to that whole card as well. Pro Box always putting out the great card. So a good week of boxing, a good, nice, solid week of boxing. But yeah, a lot of things going on with, Canelo. He's leaving PBC. Terence Crawford's, window to make the fight, the rematch happen with Spence. That whole, it's expired. So now he's a promotional free agent. So Al Haymon in the same day loses two of the biggest names in the sport, that you could possibly have. And so it's a big crumbling blow to PBC. And let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. But before we talk about it, also let's acknowledge the fine folks that have already commented and made their contributions known in the chat. Shout out to my guy Robert Sanchez. He says, "What's up, BT? Edgar versus Canelo is nasty work, boxing wise. It is." And I'm not really surprised by it, right? Because that was always a fight. If you go back on this channel, if you go back in the archives and you go look, I've always said the Edgar Berlanga fight, along with Munguia, are two fights that Canelo is always going to have in his back pocket. And guess what? Canelo's taking his right hand and he's reaching right back in his back pocket. So it's really not too surprising. We got MMA. He says, "I'm an MMA fan. I like to start following boxing. How would you do it if you were me? What channels to watch and where to watch the fights?" I mean, well, look, you came to the right place. You're in the home of boxing, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. So definitely watch my videos. Definitely watch Pro Box. I would say watch my channel and try to watch Pro Box TV's Wednesday night cards. You can start there and you can find your way from there. I think that's a pretty good base. But welcome to the sport, man. It's a great sport. Sometimes the business of it, can kind of make you a little sour, but there's plenty of great fighters and great fights to go around. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. But nonetheless, let's get to it, man, because there's a lot to discuss, right? So Canelo Alvarez, it was reported well in advance by my main man, 50 grand, Rick Glazer. By the way, tomorrow night, because I called him today and we talked. Tomorrow night, Rick Glazer will be stopping by the channel to talk about this whole situation. But Rick Glazer, he broke the news first, as he does a lot of times with a lot of stories in boxing. And people were like, nah, Rick, that's not true. That's not true, Rick. You didn't know what you were talking about. But like I tell you guys, anybody that I associate myself with in boxing is going to be of high caliber, of legitimacy. So Rick, once again, he was right. He got the report out before anybody, before Coppinger, before anybody. It was reported by Rick, and everybody didn't want to believe him. So Rick Glazer gets vindicated. That's one part of the story. But then the other part of the story is that Canelo was no longer a PBC fighter. And, they had initially signed a 3-fight deal. It was a deal that really and truthfully, it was supposed to include a Dea Benavidez fight. Canelo Alvarez and Eddie Reynoso really didn't ever seem to have the most interest in fighting David Benavidez, and that's why we are where we are now. And from everything that's been reported and being said and being talked about, it looks like Canelo Alvarez is going to find himself back with his former promoter. It's going to be a bit of a reunion of sorts with Eddie Hearn. And Eddie was smart. You know, you got to give Eddie Hearn his just due. You got to give Eddie Hearn his credit, because he never badmouthed Canelo. He never burned that bridge, because he knew, he saw the long-term vision. He saw the big picture that one day there could be trouble at PBC, that maybe their unsustainable ways may catch up to him, or maybe just Canelo Alvarez decides to go a new direction. And he knew that by keeping that relationship with Canelo Alvarez intact, that he'd be in position to get the big fights, to come back to the zone, to come back to Matchroom. And you know, shout out to him. He also was smart in signing Edgar Berlanga, because at the time, Top Rank didn't want Berlanga. You know, he was having lackluster performance, but he got a potential Canelo opponent, and it looks like that's what's going to happen for Eddie Hearn. So it's really an interesting dynamic, right? Let's talk PBC for a second before we get to matchup, before we get to Berlanga, Munguia, and before we start, you know, shitting on those matchups and how, you know, Canelo should be fighting those guys. Let's talk about PBC long term, right? Just starting with Canelo, right? So you have Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing, the cash cow, the guy that puts the asses in the seats and that puts the dollars in the bank. You lose him. What message does that send to the rest of boxing, to the rest of the fighters coming up? You know, if the face of boxing, quote unquote, doesn't see fit to stay with PBC and didn't even honor the rest of his deal, I think that's a bad move. That's a bad message that it sends to other fighters with PBC. You also factor in that there's been all these talks about the whole Amazon Prime PBC structure. How much money does Amazon Prime have? What kind of budget do they have? We've heard that they don't have a budget. And, you know, we've heard that there's been talks of potentially a second network, but we haven't really heard or seen anything announced as far as a second network. You know, it's February 26th. We're damn near in March. All right. And we've heard from the PBC conglomerate, the Fanboy. We've heard, oh, wait for the rollout. So we got the one fight with Tim Zoom, Keith Thurman. I'm excited about it. It's a cool fight. It'll be a good event. There's a bunch of world title fights in that card. I'm not complaining about it, but where are the other cards? Where are the other dates? Where's the boxing? You know, it's just looking like when you look at PBC in a vacuum, you look at their first cards in 2015. It was Keith Thurman versus Robert Guerrero. We're in 2024 now, so we're 9 years into the PBC era, quote unquote, and PBC looks about as unsustainable and as unhealthy as it's ever been. So you mean to tell me we could be in a space in boxing where PBC doesn't even last a decade? And if they do last a decade, they're not lasting a decade at the level they wanted to operate at. Because remember, guys, PBC was started off with the intention to, let's call it right, monopolize boxing. They were given a bunch of money from Waddell and Reed, big hedge fund money. They were trying to just put boxing in a Cobra clutch. They bought a bunch of time slots on, you know, big time prime time networks, CBS, you know, NBC, ESPN, even little networks that nobody heard of, like Estrella TV, Bounce TV. They were everywhere. They were supposed to turn one of those guys into a star. It wound up not happening. They were overpaying guys in mismatches. And it just fostered this culture of entitlement. And it was good for the fighters at first, but long term it was bad for the sport, right? So, you know, I'm not going to be a hater of PBC. Like, DAZN did the same thing. They overpaid guys. Leonard Blavatnik injected a bunch of cash into DAZN and paid. Eddie Hearn paid Mikey Garcia $7 million fight Jesse Vargas. You know, there was all kinds of that in boxing, but PBC kind of they started it in this era, and that's why I feel like we're here not just because of one thing. It's years of, you know, just overpaying fighters. It's years of not consistently delivering the best product. You know, like for example, last year in 2023, we heard a lot of people say, "Oh, well, PBC is giving us all the big fights," but they were giving us the big fights because they were trying to prove to the network executives at Paramount that they could sustain and turn over a profit in boxing, and they didn't. So that's why they're not on Showtime anymore, and Showtime decided to do away with PBC. So it's a sad state of affairs, you know, Canelo leaving PBC. And you know, Al Haymon, like, he's a smart guy. He's a Harvard businessman. He's a shrewd businessman. You know, I'm not going to sit here and disrespect Al Haymon, but man, it's like, I hope he's got a good plan, because right now they ain't looking too good. But anyway, let me yeah, let me go. Let me announce some comments before I continue to cook. Yeah, Pro Box TV and True School. That's right. Yeah, and Rick, hate him or love him, Rick does get a lot of stuff correct, and I think people need to start giving him some credit. You know, Alex says Al Haymon has a Harvard degree. You don't think he can figure it out? I mean, what is there to figure out? I mean, you just lost the biggest Latin American star in boxing, and you lost one of the best black fighters in boxing, quote unquote. You lost two of the biggest stars from two of the strongest demographics in boxing. So, like, what is there to figure out? I think PBC over the years, like, they never really stressed fighter development. Like, a lot of their fighters and a lot of their business practices were predicated on giving these fighters instant gratification more so than fighter development. And that's why a lot of their fighters don't fight often. That's why when their fighters do cross the street, quote unquote, to fight guys from Top Rank, they lose a lot of those fights and don't look so great. So he can figure it out. But my thing is, like, look, it's been 9 years. It's been 9 years. I don't know really what there is to figure out. When will you be returning to Florida? You don't miss Broward. I'll be in Florida the first week of March. You know, you're not wrong. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really don't miss Broward at the moment. I don't miss Broward. I don't miss South Florida at the moment. I'm having a grand old time in Las Vegas, being around boxing every day, getting to live a lot of my dreams in the sport, and really live the sport on another level. So I don't miss South Florida, but when I do get home, I'll definitely enjoy being home. But as far as Canelo, right? Because Canelo, he's gonna go to the zone. That's the move. He's gonna go to Matchroom. He's gonna go with PBC, or not PBC. He's gonna go Matchroom. He's gonna go with Eddie Hearn. Let's break down these two fights, because I think a lot of people are very pissed off about these fights of Berlanga and Munguia. Like, they've already reported, and I don't know how true it is, but Salvador Rodriguez from ESPN, who can be a little hit or miss at times with his reporting, he reported that they've already agreed for Jaime Munguia to fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend, May 4th, which makes a lot of sense, because that was initially what was being discussed a while ago. Pro Box TV had reported a while ago that Canelo was already in negotiations for a Jaime Munguia Cinco de Mayo fight. You know, so it wouldn't surprise me. Jaime Munguia just stopped a common opponent with Canelo in John Ryder, so the natural progression of things is that Canelo will fight Jaime Munguia. But you know, as far as the fight itself, this was always a fight. I mean, from the first day I ever learned who Munguia was, back in 2018 when he beat Saddam Ali for that title, I always thought that they were grooming this kid, they were grooming this young fighter to one day be someone that would fight Canelo Alvarez. And if he developed properly, which to his credit, you know, I've been frustrated with him not fighting guys like Johnny Beck and Andrade over the years. You know, to his credit, with the help of Freddie Roach and Robert Alcazar and Eddie and Eric Morales, you know, he's developed. He's developed into a much more well-rounded fighter, and a guy that I think is a lot more prepared to win a Canelo Alvarez fight than he was, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. You know, a lot of people are upset about Canelo not fighting Dave Benavidez. Now, for me, as many of you guys know, if you've really paid attention to what I've been saying about Canelo Benavidez over the years, I'm pretty neutral on this. Like, I always wanted to see Benavidez at light heavyweight, so I'm actually over the moon that Canelo and Benavidez isn't happening, because I get to see Benavidez finally fight at light heavyweight, fight guys close to his size, maybe fight the winner at Better Be at Bivol, and those to me are some amazing fights that I think have the potential to really show the greatness that Benavidez has within him, more so than a Canelo Alvarez fight, right? And then that's why I'm happy about it. But I think Benavidez will be okay. Benavidez is a guy that, you know, he's fun to watch. He's down to fight anybody. He showed us that last year, fighting Caleb Plant and Demetrius Andrade in the same year and beating them both. So I'm looking forward to him being in the light heavyweight division. I think he's going to be a very solid addition to the light heavyweight division. And it just is what it is. Like I can't really get too angry at Canelo because it's his MO. Like if you paid attention to what happened with the Demetrius Andre situation, and people hate when I bring that name up, and people like to say, "Oh, Andre's trash," and when he stepped up to fight a real fighter, Benavidez got his ass whooped, which is true. He did get his ass whooped, but you know, it's the same thing playing itself out. Andre was a top guy in his weight class that he was supposed to fight on multiple occasions, and Canelo decided to not fight him because he felt he had better options, and he went a different direction. Same thing here. The only difference is that Dave Benavidez obviously had a lot more of the fans wanting to see that fight. There was more public demand for that fight, way more public demand for that fight than the Andre fight. But you know, just in terms of the pure boxing and you know the principle of the matter, it's the same thing. You know, what are y'all saying? What's the chat saying? We got my man, the Falling Star. Good to see the Falling Star in the chat. He says, "I noticed that PBC doesn't come to major places in the world other than the U.S." Yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. Canelo being the face of boxing is indicative of the terrible state that the sport is in. Well, Malcolm, I appreciate you. I appreciate your comment, Malcolm. I really don't think boxing is in a bad place right now. I think boxing is in an unhealthy place in the USA. It's in an unhealthy place in terms of its mainstream appeal in the American market. But if, you know, speaking as somebody who went to Japan, right, I can tell you guys from a firsthand experience, boxing is alive and well in places like Japan. Boxing will always be alive and well in places like Mexico. It's only in the USA where I think boxing is struggling. And I would agree with you. I'm glad you said it, Malcolm, because what you're saying about Canelo being the face of boxing is what I've said many times in the past. I've said it many times because people like to say, well, BT True School, Canelo Alvarez is the face of boxing. You're a hater, right? And I've said, well, okay, if he's our face of boxing, well, that's why boxing is the ninth most popular sport in America, because you got a fighter who, you know, is a fantastic talent. He's a fantastic fighter, but he hasn't always worn the responsibility of being the face of boxing with the most you know, he hasn't done the best job doing that, just being honest. And the Benavidez fight, I think, like the Andre fight was more for like a hardcore boxing degenerates like me that wanted to see that fight. And even the most hardcore fans, some people didn't want to see that fight because Andre didn't do himself no favors either. So, you know, it's a two-sided coin. But the crescendo of Canelo Alvarez not being able to wear that distinct title, that distinction as the face of boxing, is right now at the Benavidez fight. And I'm glad it's happening because people can now see what I've been saying for years and why I'm so indifferent towards Canelo. Like maybe I was definitely a hater, let's say 3-4 years ago. Now I'm just indifferent. Like it is what it is. I don't get upset. I don't get angry. I don't get riled up. He's a very, very shrewd and smart businessman. Like people want to always criticize Floyd Mayweather and say, oh, well, you know, Floyd like to cherry pick and Floyd like to wait guys out and pick and choose. But guess what? When he was around this stage of Canelo's career, when he was in his 30s, 35, 36, and Canelo's not even that old, but you get what I'm saying. When he had that many years in the pros, when he had that much skin in the game, he was fighting Canelo. He was fighting top young guys. So it's like, they need to give Floyd his respect. You know what I'm saying? Al Haymon doesn't sign much amateur talent. Yeah, I mean, my good buddy Hyro, he made a great point. He said, BT, when was the last time you heard PBC announce a signing? And I had to sit there and really think to myself. I said, man, when was the last time PBC announced a signing? And I had a hard time finding an answer. So yeah, man. My man Nathan J says, good day, True School. Any news on Tim Tszyu? Nothing other than that he's fighting. That's the only news, you know? That's the only news I can tell you. Who would be your ideal face of boxing, major key boxing? Now, I did a whole video about this when I was in Japan. And really and truthfully, I don't like calling people the face of boxing. Why is that? I don't like calling people the face of boxing because I feel like once you give somebody that title, they have too much power. They have a reason to not make the fights they need to be fighting happen. So I don't like doing that. I think there can be faces of boxing, but I don't think there can be a face of boxing, mainly because boxing is such a global sport. So could there be a face of Latin American boxing? Yes. Could there be a face of Asian boxing? Yes. Could there be a face of American boxing? Yes. But I just think personally, boxing's too global of a sport to say, oh, well, this guy's just the face of boxing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get into that whole debate because I see people argue about it all the time. They say, oh, Tank is the face of boxing, Canelo's the face of boxing, and I just say none of them, unless you're selling upwards of 2 million pay-per-view buys every fight, and you got multiple countries stopping to watch you fight, like Mike Tyson did back in the day or something like that. Unless you reach that level of stardom, then I don't think we should be calling anybody in the face of boxing, because in this day and age with social media and where clout is a currency, calling someone the face of boxing just gives them a reason to not fight the guys that's supposed to fight. Calling Canelo Alvarez the face of boxing is part of the reason why a lot of you guys, a lot of you great fans of the sport, aren't getting your Dave Benavidez fight. So let's just really take some time to do that. But honestly, for me, if I have to answer your question, who's the face of boxing? How about we go with the guy that's only famous for boxing? How about Romo Gonzalez? Because Romo Gonzalez is literally only famous for boxing, but a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, BT, that you're just being biased." But you asked me what's my ideal face of boxing, I gave it to you, so that's my answer. You know.
You're asking shall receive.
Ooh, Vegas Sports Today coming through with the real comments. He says, shoot the face of boxing. Just wait till we get up there. Yeah, they don't know. They don't know Vegas Sports Today. You know, they talk about Keyshawn Davis. They talk about Shakur Stevenson. They talk about Floyd Schofield. They talk about Abdullah Mason. But listen, when Shushu get up there, all bets are off. You know? Oh, man. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Make sure you smash that like button. We here, man. Yeah, the little ones mounting up. Yeah, talk to them. Yeah, but good to see everybody here. There's a lot to discuss, man. I want to definitely stay on topic. You know, I know I'm kind of all over the place, but keep bringing them comments in, man, because y'all keep me sharp. Y'all give me things to talk about. And I sit here and I start, spitting that truth once you guys meet some great comments. But I want to kind of unpack the Edgar Berlanga Canelo potential matchup right now, because, Edgar, he was a guy that, came into the game, 16 knockouts, like all in the first round, guns blazing. We all got excited about it. Then he had that period of career where he had 4 or 5 straight fights with a decision. Looked very pedestrian. Now he comes back against Patrick McCrory, who, by the way, I respect Patrick McCrory. I'm not one to disrespect fighters. Like, I respect Patrick McCrory. He turned pro at like 27. He's 35. So just to turn pro so late, even get to the level he was at, was an accomplishment in itself. But they picked him for a reason. If you look at the top 5 of all the sanctioning bodies at the super middleweight division, he was the safest opponent, So Edgar did what he was supposed to do. Credit to him for finally doing what he was supposed to do. And he put himself in the Canelo sweepstakes. Now, can he beat Canelo? I know a lot of people probably say he can't beat Canelo. And I'd probably say he probably shouldn't beat Canelo. But Canelo Alvarez does have a lot of wear and tear on the body. Edgar is a big, strong kid who can punch. We know that Canelo has had this tendency to fall in love with his power ever since he started campaigning at 168. I wouldn't fully write Edgar off, honestly. I wouldn't write him off. I'm going to go with Canelo, but I wouldn't write Edgar off. I think unless Canelo Alvarez goes back to the old days where, like, I'm talking about the Canelo that fought James Kirkland, that was throwing combinations and being that kind of a fighter. I wouldn't rule out Edgar's chances in that fight, because Canelo's going to be in range, at the range Edgar likes. He's going to allow Edgar to get off those big, that big overhand right, that left hook to the body. I actually think that could turn into a really good fight. And maybe I'm alone on that one. Maybe that's just like the 50% of Puerto Rican genetics of me talking, but I just think I'm not ready to write Edgar off in that fight just because of how Canelo's been fighting. Now, obviously, Canelo's a smart, sharp fighter. He can make adjustments. He could come in the fight and fight a completely different style. He's done it before. But if I'm just basing it off of like the last couple of fights he's had and his run at 68, which is where he's going to fight Edgar at 68, Canelo's going to be there. He's going to be looking to counterpunch, and he's going to be loading up, throwing big shots, which means he's going to be right there at mid-range to the inside, which I think would play right into what Edgar is going to be trying to do. So could actually turn into a good fight, but maybe I think I'm alone on that one. What do y'all think in the chat? Let me see. Who else we got? He said, bro. He said, Sean Zattel quit boxing. Sean Zattel used to do be on Fight Hype. Did he have a divorce? No. Sean's actually in the chat, guys. Vegas Sports Today, Sean. That's my guy, man. One of the best in boxing. Apart from, I always big up myself, because you gotta believe in yourself. Like Chris Colbert said, you gotta believe in yourself. I believe in myself. But one of the best in the business. You know, you got to definitely give him his respect. He's getting a lot to the sport. But yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to just say Edgar doesn't have a chance, but only because of the way Canelo fights, the way he's been fighting, the range he's going to be operating at. I think that actually winds up turning into a really good fight. And then on top of that, look, let's just be real, guys. We know it's going to generate money. We know it's the whole Mexico versus Puerto Rico thing. So it's probably going to happen. And I'll tell you this. I get very frustrated a lot with the whole Mexico. I hate that Mexico versus Puerto Rico is used to sell fights, you know, certain fights, because, you know, back in the day, Mexico versus Puerto Rico, you know, you think about like the great fights with Salvador Sanchez and Wilfredo Gomez, you know, Trinidad versus De La Hoya. You know, these are the kind of fights that made Mexico versus Puerto Rico what it is. I don't think Berlanga Canelo is anything like those fights. And a lot of times I feel like Puerto Rico versus Mexico is clutching at straws these days. But it is what it is. They use that rivalry to sell fights. Nationalism is always going to sell fights in boxing. You know? He says, BT, just you got to trash Canelo versus Munguia and Berlanga. Nobody wants it. Well, I never said I wanted it. I never said I wanted Munguia versus Canelo or Berlanga. I'm just telling you guys what I think about the fight stylistically. It's not. I'm not standing here saying I wanted it, but you're probably gonna get the fight, so you might as well just start thinking about how is the fight gonna play out. Now, I'll put it to y'all like this: if if good old True School was a commissioner of boxing, Canelo would be fighting Artur Beterbiev. We'd be packing him up. That's what we'd be doing. But I don't make those kind of decisions. So it is what it is. Edgar Berlanga sucks. There was 300 Puerto Ricans at his last fight. Yeah, but I've been to Edgar Berlanga fights where he fought at in Kissimmee, and he can sell tickets. They fought in a smaller venue this time, but I've been at Edgar Berlanga fights where he sold 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 tickets on his own. So he's got a fan base, you know. Sean Tatel hasn't done lives in 50 years, man. It sure feels like he stopped. Nah, man, Sean's still covering boxing, man. Listen, there's more to life than just boxing. So Sean, maybe before I leave Vegas on Friday, maybe we can get Sean Tatel on here. Maybe I'll do a nice live stream with him. I don't know. You guys in the chat, let me know, because I'm sure the boxing, the streets, the culture could use that type of live stream, you know. But it is what it is, man. You know, PBC, for better or for worse, is a sinking ship. Hopefully they can right the ship for their sake and for the sake of their fans. But kind of to switch gears a little bit, because, you know, it wasn't just Canelo, right? Terence Crawford, he's no longer PBC. The window to exercise that rematch clause and make the Spence fight has apparently expired. Terence Crawford is now a promotional free agent, which means that he can go anywhere. You know, Terence Crawford can go fight for Golden Boy. Remember, guys, before Terence signed that Spence fight, you guys remember there was an infamous picture of Crawford and De La Hoya and Hopkins in the Golden Boy offices. So maybe they can make something happen with Terence. They can revisit their Virgil fight or something like that. He can go fight for them. He can fight Tim Tszyu, which, by the way, that's a fight I want to see. That gives Crawford the chance to, you know, win a world title in a fourth weight class, which I know that's the kind of thing that will get him up for it. Plus, to quote Floyd Mayweather, you know, Tim Tszyu got a country behind him. He's well respected. So there's already been discussions between Terence Crawford and Tim Tszyu, or not Tim Tszyu, Terence Crawford and Paco Valcarcel, the president of the WBO, about making him the super champion, so that way he can go up to 154 immediately and get a title shot. If Tim Tszyu gets past Thurman, go up to 154 immediately and get that Tim Tszyu fight. So I think that the dominoes are already falling, that things are already moving, and that's a great fight. You know, I would love to see Terence Crawford versus Tim Tszyu, because, you know, I know Sean Tatel's in the comments. I was there with Sean Tatel here in Vegas at this one gym, and it was for his media workout for the Terrell Boucher fight. And I remember having this conversation with Sean. When we spoke to Tim Tszyu back on that day, I felt, and I know Sean as well felt, that we were sitting in the presence of a real deal fighter, a guy that's just down to fight, down for whatever. He's just on smoke 24/7, right? And that was before he fought Boucher, so he was a relative unknown at that time. He's validated that time and time again, because when it was time to fight Charlo, it wasn't his fault the Charlo fight didn't happen. It was Charlo's fault the fight didn't happen. And since then, all he's done, for the most part, has fight the best available fighters that he could possibly fight. Guys like Brian Mendoza, guys like Tony Harrison, and he's proven himself to be the real deal. So if there was one fight around these weights that needs to happen and should happen, Tim Tszyu versus Terence Crawford is the way to go. Nonetheless, let me get back to the chat. He says, I've been, hold on, my man Sean's going crazy right now in the chat. Let me see. He says, I'll be back, guys. I'm just on an epic sabbatical listening to the great Brendan Taylor. See that? You see? Game recognized game. Shout out to my man Sean. He says, I've been in the mountains watching old Gerald McClellan fights, growing my beard out, plotting my next moves, predicting karate, and leading my son Leonardo in the wilderness like Piccolo did. Yeah. And let me tell you something, guys. That kid Leo, he's young, he's strong, he's marketable, he can fight. Y'all don't bring your girls around old Leo, because Leo will take all of them. And but yeah, man. Rocky says, cool shit, BT. Give me a hell yeah. Hell yeah. If you think PBC's a sinking ship, give me a hell yeah. Yeah, they had these shirts, man. Hey, shout out to Shoe Palace. I was out there at Shoe Palace the other day, and they had these wrestling shirts. Two shirts for $30. Man, so I got this one, and I got the WrestleMania 17 shirt with Stone Cold on the Rock. So I could have passed on it. I had to do it. I had to. But yeah, man. Are you the PBC fanboy? That is just, no, I'm not. I'm definitely not. But you know what? I've kind of said everything I needed to say about, PBC and everything that they got going on. I really wish I could get a big PBC executive on the live. I really do. If I could just get a big PBC executive on the live to discuss, all these matters pertaining to Crawford and Canelo, that would take everything to the next level, because it's all well and good for me to talk, but if I can get some insight from somebody from PBC, that'd be great, But I'm supposed to have my boy Hyro. Hyro is the PBC fanboy that's supposed to come on here. Hyro is supposed to come on here because Hyro is always flapping his gums about PBC and how PBC is this great, is this, and PBC is that. And he never really criticized PBC. So today he called me. It was his birthday today, and happy birthday to him. And he was like, BT, I need to come on the stream today because I got a lot I got to say about PBC and whatnot. So I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for him. I gave him the key already to come into the live. Yeah, because he's got a lot to say. And it's crazy that he's hating on PBC because that boy loved PBC. But I'm not the fanboy. He says, Brendan, how does it feel to get the underground rapper syndrome when you're the dopest and not getting the credit? You broke Rick Laser. Now he's cited by ESPN and everybody. Yeah, I mean, I've always said, Sean, like, I'm not for everybody, but the people that are meant to find me on YouTube and in the box community will find me. But it feels great. Like, I'm very, like, I try to be as humble as possible and keep my feet on the ground. But now I'm going to talk my shit a little bit right now because I remember years ago, the year was 2018. The year was 2018. And back in those days, I had my little job at Publix, making subs and whatnot. I was a little channel, and I'm still, to a degree, I am still a little channel. I still have a long way to go to get to where I want to be, but I've grown a lot since then. Nobody was interviewing Rick Laser. Nobody cared about Rick Laser. Nobody knew who he was. And I challenge anybody, go find one Rick Laser interview on YouTube before was it 2018 or 2019 when I first interviewed him. There isn't one. I was the first guy to interview Rick Laser. And not everyone's interviewing Rick Laser. Not everyone's citing him. So it's like, I'm very humble about things. But, like, this really is the home of boxing. Like, this really is really and truthfully the home of boxing. And even if I'm not getting the credit now, Sean, I've always said, as time goes on and the content stacks up, I in due time I will get my credit. So I'm not really worried about getting it now. I'm still only 29 and fine. I still got some time to go. But it's a great question from Sean. Yeah. But nonetheless, we got the PBC executive here. My main man, 50 grand, Hyro. Let me see me add him in here, or not even Hyro. Big Al Haymon. Let me see. Why is he not? Oh, there you go. Hey, Al Haymon, what's good, champ?
Al Haymon.
That's right. What's up?
Bro, how? Well, what the fuck? BT, I don't get it, man. I've been fucking waiting for that fucking rollout for fucking 4 fucking months. 4
So
fucking months.
before you go off, man, we're gonna be a little organized here. When you heard the news of Canelo Alvarez leaving PBC, what was your initial reaction?
I got pissed off. I was like, oh, screw this shit. I'm done. I'm going to sleep.
Because Hyro, you come on here every day. It's been highlighted a lot more during these 90 Days of Boxing live series, but you come on here every day. You spit this PBC propaganda, and now on all days of the year, on your birthday, they have like their worst day of all time. So
Yeah.
So what do you think is next, man? How does PBC rectify all this?
PBC needs to make the welterweight division great again. They need to make they need to bring back Floyd. They need to get Danny Garcia. They need Boots. Get all them fighters.
They need all that. So Hyro, I don't know if you saw, but like Salvador Rodriguez from ESPN, he said that pretty much Canelo's already agreed to fight Jaime Munguia. And I know you're a big PBC fanboy, but over the last couple months, you've been banging the Jaime Munguia at 168, drum. So if there's any truth to that, are you taking any joy in the fact that maybe Jaime Munguia is fighting Canelo, and what kind of chances are you giving Jaime Munguia in that fight if they do fight next?
I think I'm giving Jaime Munguia a big chance because you know why? This has been 7 years in the making, BT. I don't know if you realize, but Jaime Munguia, bro, that fight's been talked about for so long.
Yeah. It has been talked about for a long time. I always felt like that was going to be the passing of the torch fight for Mexico. But doesn't if Canelo takes that fight, doesn't that kind of expose him? Because wasn't Canelo saying that he doesn't fight Mexicans because he's the representative of all Mexican boxing? Like, wasn't that the reason he gave for not fighting Dave Benavidez?
Yeah.
So what do you make of that?
I think Canelo's a bitch, and he's a hypocrite. But I'm not even mad at that. But
what are you mad at? Tyro, please talk to him, man, because the people want to hear. Like, and Karma wants to know: is this you? Because he never heard you speak. Yes, this is him, the one and only. You can't clone him. This is Hyro. This is the one of the main executives at PBC, the unofficial executives at PBC.
Yeah, I'm here. What I'm really pissed about is fucking Eddie Hearn's bitch ass.
Oh, look, I like Eddie Hearn, right? I'm not gonna say nothing bad about Eddie Hearn, but that's you saying that. Why do you feel so strongly against Eddie Hearn, Hyro?
Because Eddie Hearn can't promote in America, man. He just can't. No.
Do you so when you say he can't promote in America, what evidence do you have to suggest that?
Because he could, freaking Andrew Ruiz, Anthony Joshua. The only reason why it got big because Eddie Ruiz knocked his ass out. That's pretty much why.
Yeah. What about Conor Benn and his recent fight in the States against Pete Dobson? What did you think about the 2:00 in the afternoon start?
Bro, come on, bro. He can't sell that shit. Like, come on. Let's be real.
So do you feel like Canelo, even though Canelo Alvarez is this big star and he's worked with Eddie Hearn in the past, do you feel like maybe that Eddie Hearn won't really know how to make Munguia versus Berlanga or not Munguia versus Berlanga, Munguia versus Canelo or Berlanga versus Canelo as big as they could be?
No, he won't know.
Okay. Because you've had a problem with Eddie Hearn. You've had a problem with Eddie Hearn for a long time. Like, this isn't a new thing.
Yeah, it's because Eddie. I don't know why, but Eddie Hearn just in America. He's not even he doesn't know how to promote. The weigh-ins are the most boring thing he does. Like, I don't get excited from the weigh-ins. Like, it's like he talks a load of rubbish, I would say.
Yeah.
He talks all that fucking shit.
But the events you think aren't delivering.
Yeah, they don't deliver, bro.
Okay.
And plus, what you don't realize is Eddie Hearn, all his fighters are co-promoted by the freaking Russian boxing, freaking promotion, the Taken promotion, bro. All this shit, bro. Eddie Hearn always has a second. There's always like a second hand. He always has hope.
Okay. Okay. Well, what about okay? We'll switch gears a little bit before we get back to the chat in a second. I want to acknowledge some of the people that are commenting. Shout out to all 35 of you here. We got Big Al Haymon, aka Hyro, the one of PBC's unofficial executives that always comes here and spits that PBC propaganda. Today is his birthday. How old are you today, Hyro?
I'm I'm 23.
Say it. No. Say it in your Jerry Anderson voice.
But I'm 23.
All right. All right. It's the pressure though. But
It's the person.
Hyro, what do you think about Terence Crawford? He's officially a promotional free agent. So they didn't just lose Canelo. They lost your boy Terence Crawford. So now he's a free agent. What do you make of all that?
But why, man? Like Terence Crawford was doing so good with just one fight. Like, bro, he's been like the most popular he's ever been. He's been like a rapper, like rolls in with his entourage. Like,
So you feel like Terence Crawford he's actually felt more like a superstar. Like he finally felt as popular as he is as far as his skills. Like his popularity was starting to match his actual like skill level in the ring.
yeah, yeah, he was like he was, bro. He was being himself. Like he
I
didn't
got
give a damn.
I got you. So like, what do you think is next? I mean, there's already been discussions from Terence Crawford and his team and the WBO president about declaring him super champion to fight Tim Tszyu. So would that be okay? Would that suffice, Hyro, or is there something else he needs to do besides fight Tim Tszyu? What from you? What do you think Terence got to do? Tell the people, man, because the people want to hear from you. You're always in the chat. They want to hear from you, Hyro.
I think he needs to. I think he needs to fight Charlo, man.
Jermel,
Yes, he needs tune up, man. Like, he needs a little tune up.
nobody wants to see that bullshit ass fight.
But we need to take that Ring magazine off of him, bro. Because the whole narrative is gonna be, oh well, Jermel never lost at his weight, so we need to get that shit out. If we can squeeze that in, that'll be great.
I got you, but okay. I disagree. Like I disagree. But before we get back to Crawford, let's acknowledge a couple of comments. We got my man.
And
Go ahead. Matt
you,
says like you said in your last video. I seen that they need to fight another service to get more fights on, and hopefully not trash or rush throwing together cards. Yeah, I mean, Hyro, you made a big point about that, and that's one thing you used to always tell me. You said BT, they're working on that second network. So
I
where is
know.
it, man? Where is that second network? Where's the deal with Zeus Network? Where's all these things that we thought that you were talking about, man?
I'm still waiting, man, bro. Well, we need Carmel Moden active, man. Carmel Moden hasn't fought since November.
Yeah, how often for the people out there? How often should you feel like someone like Carmel Moen should be active, right?
He should be at least fighting 5 times a year at this point.
Okay, I ain't mad at that. I actually saw Carmel Moen, today do a little bit of sparring. He's very really good talent. Nice young kid. Got a great father. I would love to see Carmel Moen fight 5 times a year. I think the boxing world would benefit greatly from a bright young star, like bright young talent like Carmelo, and fighting 5 times a year. That's the way they used to do it back in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men.
Yeah, I used to, I still like PBC, but I'm kind of seeing the light a little bit.
What? You're seeing that, okay, they do some things great, but they do something great.
Yeah, I see a little bit.
So we're not supposed to be fans of promotional companies, but if you had to say, if you were a fan of a promotional company, how is PBC still in the lead, or who was it? Which promoter's cards are you looking the most forward to in boxing?
Yeah, I think it's gotta be. I think it's gotta be Top Rank, man.
Top Rank, okay. So
Yeah,
I'm sure. So does that mean you're excited about this weekend's fight between Odebek Komatov Raymond Ford?
yeah. I actually am. Yeah, I'm excited for Ray Savage.
Okay, who you got in that fight and why? Can you give us a prediction? Can we get a prediction from you on that one or no?
Uh, I think I'm. I think I'm gonna go with. I don't know, man. I think I'm going with Ray Savage, man.
You go Raymond Ford?
Actually, no, fuck, no,
No, no,
screw that. No,
no.
no,
You can pick him if you want. I'm
no,
not.
no,
I don't hate Raymond Ford. Raymond Ford's a good skill fighter. I don't
no,
think he's.
no. No, because I saw Eddie Hearn and he said he's going for Raymond Ford and no, yeah, I'm going with Odebeck.
Okay, so you're only picking these guys based on promoter.
No, I'm not pissed. I'm not picking them, but nah.
Okay, okay,
I think Odebeck is he's a big guy for the weight class. You know, he can punch, he can jab. You know, I think he has more ways to win than Raymond Ford.
okay. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I love me some Odebeck. I think Odebeck. I'm not picking Odebeck just because of the punching power.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. I think Odebeck got the boxing skills if it gets down to it, he could even win the UD need be. But look, Hyro, to kind of get back to Canelo, MEZBX throwing out a really interesting idea, and I would actually love if Eddie Hearn. Listen, if Eddie Hearn did this, Eddie Hearn would be the best promoter in boxing. He said, if I'm Eddie Hearn, I would put Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga in South Beach, Miami. That would be a movie. That'd be crazy. I mean, that would be a massive event, mega event. I think if they were to do that fight, they should put that at like the American Airlines Arena or do it somewhere like outdoors. You don't even got to put it at the American Airlines Arena. Put it at like Bayfront Park in downtown Miami. If you guys know South Florida, you know Bayfront Park. It would be a movie. You have the water in the background. I mean, these are the kind of things Eddie Hearn needs to do. What do you think, Hyro? Berlanga versus Canelo or Canelo Berlanga in South Beach? What do you think?
I think that's a good move. I mean, you don't get a lot of big cards in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, and Canelo's fought now. I mean, he fought Omni Yildirim at the Miami Dolphins Stadium. So why not do Edgar Berlanga versus Canelo? It don't even got to be in a big arena. I think they should do it at Bait. There's this part of so next to the American Airlines Arena where the Heat play, there's this park and it's right by the water. It's called Bayfront Park, and they got like a little like event center thing. There's enough space there. They should do it there.
Okay, but before that, I want to address Enrique Luna's comment.
What's Enrique? Well, let me find it. Enrique Luna. He said this one.
Yeah,
Okay, address it.
yeah. I'm speaking like a ghost because He's like they say, Big Al Heyman's the original ghost. He's making moves.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
but yeah, I can speak louder, but not right now. It's kind of late, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. Jasper Simon says PBC is cutting ties with anyone who thinks they are above them and who makes contracts complicated. They know the stats. All the finessing divas and those who want money can go somewhere else. I hear you, man, but I don't know if I agree with that because if that's the case, then Keith Thurman wouldn't be fighting Tim Tszyu. You know, what do you think, Hyro? Because Keith Thurman's got a lot of big purses.
Yeah, I mean, but Keith Thurman is the guy. Keith Thurman is good for boxing. Keith Thurman is an entertainer, bro.
No,
Keith
I
Thurman
like
can box.
I keep them. I'm a keep them a fan, but like even today, it's like I was looking at the fight poster today, and it's Thurman Zoo. They got Thurman's name on the poster first. He's like the A side. How does that work? Tim Zoo's the one with the Australian fan base, the country behind him.
I mean, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's been fighting in America for a long time. A lot of people don't know Tim Tszyu.
They know Costa Zoo.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
my
but
man,
not the
so
casuals.
this guy right here, Lazaro Batista. I only see this guy in my comments when I talk about Canelo. This dude's been riding Canelo's Johnson for years. He says, "Viva Canelo, culeros, culeros." I know the chants at the fights. Emmy says Matchroom should plant their flag in Miami. Imagine Fat Joe, DJ Khaled, other stars who live in Miami at the fight with the Mexican and Puerto Rican fans. It would. And you know what, Emmy, they need to hire you. Shit, you'd add a lot to the Matchroom, add a lot of value to the Matchroom marketing team. You know what I'm saying? Howard, you got anything else in your mind when it comes to PBC and Al Haymon and them losing Canelo and Crawford? Anything on the Crawford side of things? Anything else you want to add from the Crawford side of things? Because we spent most time talking about Canelo. How about Crawford?
You know, I used to not always, I wasn't always the biggest fan of Crawford, but I come to the light too.
With Crawford?
Yeah.
So my thing is this, right? Jaron Ennis, I know it's wishful thinking, but man, I feel like with him being a promotional free agent, they should still try to make that Jaron Ennis fight.
Yeah.
Boxing needs that fight. Like he may not think so, but I think boxing needs a fight between two highly skilled, super athletic, hard punching, ferocious Black American welterweights. You know, because to me,
Yeah.
like damaged goods. Like he wasn't. I mean, even if he was at his best, he still wasn't beating Crawford. He never had the tools to beat Crawford.
I mean,
At
I
least
want to see at 54.
at 54, that's okay. Yeah, have him fight at 54. They should do like a round. Like in a perfect world, they would just do a round robin tournament. They would have Crawford fight Ennis. They'd have Zoo fight Virgil, and then the winner could fight. The winners of each other could fight. At the top. That's what they should do.
But
But I
I
know,
just have. Yeah, what do you say?
but I know boxing. With the promoters and all the different hands in the cookie jar, they're not gonna do that.
I just feel, man, I just feel like if Terence Crawford signs a new deal, I just have a feeling like he's gonna lose, man. I don't know why this always happens to fighters when they're coming off a spectacular win, you know, and they don't fight for a year, and then once they do, they lose.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, look, Terrence, I class Terrence in the same way I would class a guy like Beterbiev. Like those guys are outliers. They are the exception to the rule. Those guys really do a great job of living the life of a professional fighter. So I don't think Terrence is gonna have that issue. I think Terrence will be fine. I'm sure he'll be in a tough fight against like Zoo or something like that. But I don't think ring rust affects Terrence like it does most fighters. Now, if he's been partying too much and living the life a little too much, then okay, I can see it catching up to him. But I just don't. I don't see that being the case for him.
I mean, they cut off with Josh Taylor.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to put like Josh Taylor's like personal business out there. But I mean, I've seen Josh Taylor out here in Vegas. Josh Taylor, he know how to party, and he may enjoy that life a little too much. And I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it straight at that. But Josh Taylor, I'm a little upset that he did a fight at one. I'm a little upset that he's fighting Catterall again, and they're actually going to fight at 40 for a non-title. It's kind of dumb, like from a managerial standpoint. You couldn't make the 140. You could barely make 140 2 years ago, and you're going to fight them. You're going to fight there again for a non-title fight. Makes no sense. You there?
Yeah, man.
What do you think, man? Or if you don't want to talk about Josh Taylor, is there anything else box related on your mind?
David Benavidez.
All right, let's talk about that. What's on your mind about David Benavidez?
I really wanted to see that Canelo fight. I think that was
Do
a.
do you feel bad for Benavidez? Like, do you feel sympathy for him?
I do.
I hope
Yeah.
not. I really hope not.
Oh, why?
You shouldn't. There's no reason to feel sympathy for him. He
I
lost the
mean,
title.
I mean, you hate Benavidez either way.
I don't hate him. I'm just not as in love with him as the rest of the boxing world.
I
I
mean,
like
yeah, but
when Benavidez first came. I liked him.
if if Benavidez was 5'2" and 100,
Huh?
if Benavidez was at 5'2" and 115,
You said if Benavidez is 5'2" and 115 pounds and he was Japanese, do you think I'd be a huge fan of him?
yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. Like his style.
Maybe, who knows? But he's not. He's Dominican. He's 5'10" or whatever he is. He
If
throws a lot of punches.
if he was Carlos Canazales, bro, in the upper weight class, bro, you would like him.
He kind of is like Carlos Canizales in weight class. The only difference is Carlos Canizales doesn't fight guys that are smaller than him.
It's because David Benavidez runs his mouth. He's got a
No,
personality.
it's okay to run his mouth. I like when he runs his mouth. It's that he runs his mouth and he's not on the same page with his team. He says one thing, his team says another thing, and then I can't really I'm not gonna get into that mode where I hate on Benavidez because he's now doing what I asked him to do for all these years. He's finally moving up to light heavyweight, but I don't feel an ounce of sympathy for him because he even if he was young and he made some stupid mistakes, he's only where he's at with the Canelo fight because of himself. We all know, like anybody who can be honest, anybody who can be honest and isn't afraid to say what's on their mind, especially people in the boxing media, anybody that's honest knows that Canelo Alvarez has always they know he wasn't gonna fight Benavidez because you got Eddie Reynoso, who's his trainer and his manager. he's a great manager. Benavidez is a fight that's not going to present the most return on investment. It's a hard fight. It's one that he could lose. Benavidez happens to be Mexican as well, so that could take part of the Canelo fan base from him, and he doesn't want that. Canelo's got a lot of pride. He wants to always be looked at as, you know, the head honcho of Mexican boxing. So, you know, everything that's happened after he lost title on the scale, like Canelo not fighting him, that was going to happen regardless. Like, he was never going to fight Benavidez. So that you know, I personally can't feel sympathy for him, and I'm just glad that he finally made the right decision, and is going to light heavyweight, and is going to explore fights with guys like Beterbiev Bivol and I guess now Alexander Gvozdyk, because that's a good fight too.
So that means you want him to get the shot?
At Canelo?
Yeah.
No. If it was up to me, David Morrell Jr. would be getting the shot at Canelo.
Oh wow! Wow! All of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, Benavidez isn't in the division anymore, and I don't, you know, Munguia. You already know how I feel about him, and I don't think Edgar Berlanga deserves it either, right? So, yeah, I think David Morrell Jr., the guy that presents the biggest challenge, the biggest threat.
Yeah, but weren't you saying that Senor Becco was gonna knock him out?
I didn't say that. Now you're exaggerating. I said Senor Becco could be a tough fight for him because Senor Becco was coming off a good win against Isaiah Steen, and Senor Becco had been in camp at Beterbiev, and Senor Becco is a good fighter, but you know, Morrell beat the brakes off of him. So
Yeah, I mean, he talked all that crap and he got his ass knocked out.
crap, I didn't even pick Senor Becco to win. I talk crap to you because you like Morrell, so I get you riled up, but I didn't pick him to win or nothing like that.
Dude, he's pretty good at 168.
Who, Morrell?
Yeah, for only having 10 fights.
No, he's great. He's amazing at 168, and I would like to see him fight Canelo, but I know that's not gonna happen because I seen Canelo and Morrell like stand next to each other when Canelo came to the Luis Ortiz was a Charles Martin fight because he was there to support Frank Sanchez. I mean, most guys at this weight class are bigger than Canelo, but man, Morrell is really, really, really a lot bigger than Canelo, and he's fast. He's young. He punches hard with both hands. He's not gonna fight him.
I mean, I think Morrell's like one of the best Cuban fighters.
He is. I mean, he doesn't have like the traditional Cuban style. It's a lot of punches, a lot of combinations, a lot of punching power. I would love to see him get the shot. Edgar Berlanga doesn't want to fight Morrell because he was asked in plain English. Shout out to the reporter that asked this question. They asked Berlanga. They said, if you can't get Canelo get Canelo or Munguia, would you consider David Morrell Jr. as an alternative option? And Berlanga immediately shot it down and said, no, I'm only looking for the biggest fights. So, you know, the Minnesota Monster.
Yeah, they only gotta sell out the armory.
Yeah, so I mean, I would like to see him get his shot, but I know Canelo's not going to do that. If Benavidez would have continued fighting at 168 in a perfect world, he'd be fighting Christian and Billy next.
Man, he'll beat the brakes on Christian and Billy, man.
I don't know. You got to actually watch the fights.
No, come on.
The fights do that.
Oh yeah, then Chocolatito needs to fight Donnie Nietes, bro. You can't say it.
There's nothing to skip. Donnie Nietes is not irrelevant.
But still, I mean, Chocolatito he didn't fight Kazuto Ioka.
You know, Chocolatito's not even going to be at 115 anymore, right? You know he's moving up to bantamweight, right?
Yeah, who's he gonna fight?
I don't know who he's gonna fight, but I was told weeks ago by one of the guys on his team that I know, because I reached out to him and asked him that he's going to 118, and then it was confirmed again. So I don't know who he's gonna fight. I think maybe if one of the guys, I think maybe somebody vacates the belt and he fights for a vacant belt. That's what I think. I don't know who would vacate, but I think it's gonna be a scenario where like someone vacates the title.
I mean, Chocolatito looks chubby when he was at 115. So how's he gonna look like at 118?
I mean, there's more weight on him and his body's more filled out, so I don't think making 118 should be that hard for him. I think it'll be all right. The good thing about Romo Gonzalez and his style is that his style is not a style that's like reliant upon athleticism or anything like that. His style is all about, just having good fundamentals with your punches and being balanced, and those things never go out of style.
So you're saying he's gonna look better than Demetrius Andrade at 168?
1000%. Because Andre never really looked good. Like even when he beat Demond Nicholson, he didn't look great in that fight. And then we all know what happened to Benavidez in the Benavidez fight. We don't gotta talk about that one too much. I don't like talking about that fight here.
But speaking of Andre, today's his 37th birthday, I believe.
Oh Lord, wait, y'all have the same birthday?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That y'all the same. Okay, well, shout out to him. God bless Andrew. Still one of my favorite fighters, but just I hate how his career played.
Dude, he hasn't been your favorite fighter since he joined PBC, and I still believe it.
No, Andre hasn't been one of my favorite fighters since he started ducking Zach Parker and Johnny Beck, which was before he signed with PBC. So I was already like, you always bring up like that time when I went on the Boxing Voice and I was, talking to Ness, and Ness was getting off of me about Canelo versus Andre. Or back then, at that time, I was already kind of like, you know what, like this guy Andre, like he was undefendable at that point. Just being honest.
Let's see.
Robert wants to know, BT, how did Berlanga skip Morrell at WBA rankings for #1 fight? I have no idea.
He didn't skip him. He just listed as the WBA regular, like the champion. Like he's like above, like he's like next to like Canelo.
Who, Morrell?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Morrell's he's regular champion. I mean, look, I just want to see Morrell get his shot. These guys, these these contenders and these mandatories, boxing gotta do a better job of getting these guys their shots a little bit earlier because they delay, and then we're sitting here and the timeline of everyone's screwed up because boxing is just politics. It's screwing everybody up.
Do you think Morrell's better than Andy Cruz?
Ooh, that's a good question. I never thought about that one. I personally like Andy Cruz more.
That's BS.
I think Dan Morrell is a more devastating fighter. I think Dan Morrell is a more devastating fighter than Andy Cruz. But every time I watch Andy Cruz fight, with Bozy Ennis as his coach, and I see how he's developing, he looks amazing to me. I want to see Andy Cruz get in there with the top 15 guy before I really start going crazy over him. But so far, it's been amazing. It's been smooth sailing.
But he only has like 3 fights, and he's almost 30 years old.
Yeah, but Andy Cruz, like my man right here, he's more polished. I think even with 3 fights, he's a more polished fighter than Dan Morrell Jr.
Then I want to see him fight that style with a living post. Then I'll give my true judgment. Andy Cruz.
Who do you want to see him fight?
I want to see him fight like a top 10 guy.
No, me too. I'm calling for it. I want to see. Let's see. I'll look at the rankings right now. I'll tell you exactly who I want to see Andy Cruz fight.
I mean, there's a reason why Bob Arum didn't sign him, because Bob Arum would have got him.
If you wanted him?
Yeah, Bob Arum can sign any Olympian.
That's not always true.
Come on.
It may seem that way, but that's not always true.
Because Bob Arum, he always thinks about the future.
I've been telling you that. What about Andy Cruz versus? Let me see. What about Andy Cruz versus the winner of Williams Pereira versus Maxie Hughes? Would that be good?
Yeah, that would be cool. But I think I want to see somebody in the top rank side.
Okay, well, Andy Cruz versus, I don't know.
Raymond.
Versus who?
Raymond Murataya.
You think they would take that fight? You think Robert Garcia and Top Rank would take that fight?
Not now, but yeah, in the future, yeah.
I might need to go make some phone calls, ask Robert Garcia myself. Would they take that fight? That's a good fight. Raymond's developing real nicely.
Or that Keyshawn. I want to see Keyshawn Davis.
Oh, I know Andy Cruz can fight. I'm looking at the rankings right now. So it's crazy, right? Because I'm in Vegas, my boy, shout out my boy Eric Lantis Jr. He's inspiring everybody, like not everybody, but he's inspired a lot of people. And we were down at Mayweather's gym one day, and he sparred this Canadian dude. And I'm looking at the rankings right now, and the Canadian dude he sparred was number 7 in the WBA, and it's a guy by the name of Chan Tonson. I watched my boy Eric do like about 6 rounds with him. Good little boxer, you know, could box, can move. He's number 7, so he's a top 10 guy. Not really well known, but I think Eddie could definitely win that fight.
Yeah, or Antonio Moran.
Uh, I mean that'd be a step up because Antonio Moran just got a good win against Romero Duno, but Antonio Moran's not a top 10 guy. You said a top 10 guy.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Or
You know,
you know what? You know what? He'll fight Jorge Linares for that'll be his big step up fight, and then he'll fight a top 10 guy.
because Jordan Linares just told me that he's done.
Yeah, but he said that like a while ago, and he still fought.
Daniel said they would do Keyshawn before doing that. Before doing what? Oh, Lomachenko? Probably. He's not gonna get. That'd be a crazy fight though. Lomachenko versus Andy Cruz because of their amateur background.
What about Shakur Stevenson?
Andy Cruz for Shakur?
Yeah.
Or when he fight Floyd Schofield. And Floyd Schofield called out Shakur, and Shakur said, Nah, you can't fight me. You gotta fight my little bro, Abdullah Mason. He ain't gonna fight him.
I mean, Shakur probably think he's a kid. He's like what, 20, 19?
Yeah, he's also the number 4 contender in the WBA, so he's not chopped liver. He's 16-0 with knockouts. Like it's not like he's got less than 10 fights. He got 16 fights.
Yeah, but he needs to fight Jojo Diaz, man.
He fight Jojo Diaz because Jojo Diaz just lost to Jesus Perez.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop.
They gonna match Floyd up with Jesus Perez next, knowing Golden Boy.
Yeah, but that's not gonna stop him. Jojo's been on a 3-fight losing streak. He won 1 fight. He'll get like a tune-up, and then he'll be back.
Okay.
Let me see.
What y'all think, chat? My man Casanova says that Floyd Schofield really isn't that good.
I mean,
How good do you think Floyd Schofield actually is?
I don't. I don't know. I don't really find. I'm not really too impressed when he. I think when he fought in the YouTube theater. I don't think I was impressed in that fight.
Okay. What about a Floyd Schofield versus Ashton Silva fight? Because I really think that's the fight that they should be looking at. I think that's of all the young guys, you got 2 guys on the zone, one from MVP Promotions, one from Golden Boy. What do you think about Ashton Silva versus Floyd Schofield?
Yeah, actually, I think yeah, I think I would like that. I think Floyd would beat him. I'm not too high on Ashton Silva.
No, but Ashton Silva can punch though. He's got some.
Yeah, but I don't think he has good footwork though.
Okay, so you think maybe the athleticism and the footwork of a guy like Schofield overpowers him? You think?
Yeah, and he's from Long Beach, so.
Damn, what does that mean? Because I mean, I'm from South Florida. I'm not really too well versed in my California. What is it? Is it bad to be from Long Beach? Because Snoop Dogg's from Long Beach.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know, man. They don't train as hard.
Okay. Yeah. You gonna leave? Yeah. Okay. I'll go with you. No, I'll go with you. But yo, Harold, I'm gonna end the line because I gotta run, man. I gotta run.
All right, man. Hey, this was fun, man.
It was fun. We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah.
All right. But guys, look, I'm gonna end the live now. I gotta run because I gotta go to the airport real quickly. But we'll be live tomorrow. Rick Layers will be on the live tomorrow, so make sure you guys tune in for that and check out all the content on the channel. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just getting from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.
Al Haymon.
Al Haymon.